have been alerted to your presence, sir.
Hi guys, welcome to Smooth's Workshop. Terry here. Welcome back to part 3, I think this is, of my Revell 1112 Star Wars X-Wing fighter. We've got a bit of a mess of wiring and LEDs and bits of wings and solder and all sorts of stuff going on here. In this episode I will discuss the modifications that I had to do to both the body and the wings to accept the wiring and the LEDs. I'll go into a little bit about I actually had to modify the LEDs slightly and trim them down. And then I go into light blocking. We're putting lights inside a piece of white plastic and the light's going to reflect everywhere. So I'll show you how to do light blocking, and then I briefly show you how I'm wiring up and how to solder an LED, and that's basically where I've got to. I have checked once, I've got one pair done and they're working. And I'm in the middle of doing the second pair, but try to keep the videos under an hour, so the next video after this one will be where I've left off here. So wait and watch the film. Go on, off you go. Hiya guys, welcome back. Terry here, Smooth's Workshop. Right, this Star Wars X-Wing, I've been doing a bit of fettling since you were away. I know I've got to be running wires on this. So, I've done a couple of things, mostly with the wings, so I'll get one set out here. One of the first things I've done, obviously because this is a clip together kit, is I've removed the tab at the back here, and there was a blank piece at the end. I've taken that away. I'll tell you how I did that in a minute, and I've opened up this hole just so that I can get this engine cover on and off and on and off, rather than it snap fitting and me not being able to get it off and breaking it trying to get it off. So I've done that on all four. I've also removed from the inner engine cover the opposite locating tab and the part that was blanking off the end on there, and I have went ahead and fitted the front engine piece, okay, on them all. So I dropped that in and glued it in place, and all I did was I took a little bit of Tamiya extra thin on the brush and dabbed it in at the back just to put that in place. Right, so the tabs that were in the back, I basically went in with my side cutters and snipped that bit off and snipped that bit off and snipped that bit off on there and snipped that bit off on there, and then I've clamped it together like so. Okay, so you can see a hole down the end of there. That hole wasn't there. There's actually a blanking plate there. So what I've done is I've just taken my 3mm drill and drilled that out, holding it tightly together. And then I opened it up slightly more than 3mm, because these LEDs, the bit round the bulb is 3mm, and I want a wee bit more clearance than just the 3mm. So this is actually an 1/8 drill, but it's just slightly more than 3mm. Okay, cleaned that out, and just got my wee round file out. No, will it come apart again? Got my wee round file out and opened up, cleaned it up a bit more on both sides. Okay, so this allows, this is the full size of an LED. Let me show you. I've got something black to put it against. I've got that battery box. That's the full size of the LED. Okay, so the bit at the tip there is 3mm, but there's a shoulder on it which is more than 3mm. So I've actually I've drilled a wee 3mm hole in a bit of plastic card. Now, because this is white, it's going to throw the lighting off quite a bit. 3mm bit of plastic card, put a hole through it, put the LED through it, bit masking tape on it to protect the bulb, and I'm actually in the stages of, I'm having to file all the way around to take the shoulder off, because the shoulder on that bulb is normally, if you drill a hole and you push it up against the hole, the shoulder's what stops the LED popping through. If I leave that shoulder on there, it's not going to fit into the back of this X-Wing. So I'm having to remove the shoulder on it. So here's one I've done earlier. And I've actually, it's quite small now. So I've removed the shoulder all around, and I've cut the cathode and the anode down in size so it'll fit inside. The idea being that this will now sit inside that engine compartment, like so. I don't know if you'll catch it with the light, but that's the LED sitting inside there, and the cover can go on, okay, and it all closes up round about it. Now if I hadn't taken that shoulder off these two pieces, it wouldn't have went together, and I would have had to drill it out more than 3mm, and it would have looked a bit wrong. So I'm just trying to get the LED up a wee bit. Obviously when the wires are in, this LED is not going to move about, but at the moment, because it's not fixed in place, it's moving about. So right, there's the LED. Pop it up. There's the LED popping out the end there. You maybe just see it. Well, that'll be recessed in. Into the engine a bit, probably sitting about there. I don't know if you can make it up with the shadow, but that's where the LEDs are going to be sitting, inside there. So I've still got the other 3 LEDs to shave down and sand and cut the legs to size, but that now lets us know that we could get an LED in there, and it's going to sit about there, and we now have to get the wiring in place to go between the engine pods. So they're wired on a pair, so I'm doing them a pair across one set of wings. So the next thing I had to do was, I'll just take that off as well. There's a recess, right, so the bulb comes to here and there's a recess at the back here, so I know that I can get my wires down and into that recess, but then I need to get them out. Now if the engine's in place, is that the right one? Is that 10? That one. So if the engine's in place, basically what I've done is I've drilled 2 holes. Now the only way I'm going to show you where the holes are is if I take something of a contrasting colour and pop it in, I'll let you see where the wires would be going. So if you can see those 2 wires there, right, that's the 2 holes I've drilled in, and I've drilled them in such a way that both wires come into this section in here, and with gentle manipulation I can get them up along and onto the back of the LED. That's going to be the fiddly bit, okay. So then the wire then has to go, one of them goes down along to the front, one of them goes through the wing, so I've made other drill holes, and comes up that hole like so. So I've got a hole through the wing there, and then it goes into that hole, which I've got, oh, can I get it to pop in just on camera just to let you see? So obviously I've got a big loop on there, but so that comes for the other one up into there, and then the other hole takes it away and up to the front. So I've had to do that on both of them. So I've left the wires off just now because the next thing I need to do on this part is light blocking. So I'm just going to do that, painting it by brush. But basically, so each engine has had 2 holes drilled, an odd one here and there for me getting them through the wings. Now when these are in place, Terry, get it together, not that way, right, have I got it the right way? Right, they actually tell you in the instructions to have it so that one tab's there and one tab's at the other side, but I've found that I can't get my wires run that way, and these wings are just a mirror image of each other. So I've actually went and had both the tabs on the one side, like I mentioned previously. There's 2 tabs in there, one there and one there. They're actually supposed to be opposite each other, but if I put them opposite each other, I can't run the wires the way I want to run them. So I'm putting them on the same side as each other. Now the issues you arise into there is, here's my body, there's the engine, and I'll just, the wings and engine, and I'll just pop that in there just now, is I've now got 2 wires running for there, okay, and 2 wires running for there, and a tiny little gap to get them through. So I've gently with my round file notched off a little bit in there, but I've also had to modify by taking, maybe show up against my finger, taking a chunk out at the back there on both sides, and the same down at the bottom, so that when the wires come out the engines, they go in through the body, and it allows me to glue the 2 parts of the body together. I wouldn't be able to glue the 2 parts of the body together without that. I mucked up a bit on this side. I drilled the holes in the wrong place, so I've fixed it with a bit of plastic art, but basically if I put that back together, you can see where I've had to notch that out above and below, and that's to let the 2 wires for each engine go into this part. Okay, so what I'm going to go then do is I need to do the light blocking on the inside. Now the stuff on the inside I'm just going to paint by hand. The same with the inside of the engines, I'm just going to paint by hand, and I'm just going to use black Ultimate Primer. It goes on great, and it's hopefully going to be nice and thick, and it brushes well as well. So that'll be the next bit I'll go and do, is do the light blocking. Do the inside by brush. Now when it comes to painting this, the next stage after doing the light blocking, I'll actually run the wires and put the LEDs in here, okay, and then I'll do a wee test to make sure they're working individually, and if they're working okay, then I'll glue the engine covers on both of them. So I'll put the LEDs in, run the wire in, check they're working, that's fine, glue the engine covers on that one. Same with this one, check it's working. Now the reason I'm wiring them in pairs as well, it's going to make it easier to paint them, because if I put all that assembly in there, right, I could paint it, but if I got it upside down, no, that's yeah, I have. If I put all that in there and then try and get in and paint it all, I can't really detail paint in there, or in there, or in there. So what I propose doing is I'm going to LEDs in, and then I'll get the big laser things attached to the wing, the big probes, whatever you want to call them, get them attached to the wing, and then I'll blast them with primer. I'll have to find a way of masking off the bulb so that the bulb doesn't get painted over. So I'll go over them with the primer, and then I'll go over them with the white, and then I'll start going in with grey. So I'll basically paint up the wings and then put them together. That lets me get in about them, but it means I can't actually clip this together until they're painted. But then if I then go and then spray this black with the wings in, I'm just going to undo what I've done. So I'm going to partially paint these. I'm basically going to do the light blocking and the black primer on the outside, and then I'm going to mist over with the white and all that to a similar stage to what the wings is. Then I'm going to glue it together, and then touch up any mess after that with the white. But as long as this part, the rear part, is mostly done, it's going to make life easier, and then I can do all the weathering and stuff. So that's kind of the plan. I'm going to do the light blocking on the cockpit as well, and then I'll paint in the final cockpit colour and everything like that. I might even paint the wee pilot man. So that's kind of the stages I'm going on to. So it's going to be a light blocking, fitting and wiring the LEDs, gluing the engines up, priming these, and painting them up once I know they're working. Right, the paint colours on this, I'm not going to be using what it shows you in the box. it just blocks it out in blocks of grey here and blocks of grey across the engine and all that. I've watched the movie, it's not like that. I mean, the box art's not even like the movie, but it's subtle bands of grey. And your engines aren't all picked out in dark colours either. Everything's basically been sprayed white, but there's little highlights of colour and stuff, so I'm going to do all that. So basically the next stage is I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to sand down these LEDs, make sure they fit, and then I'm going to do the light blocking on it all, and I might come back and show you doing the light blocking. Okay, so see you in a bit. Bye. Hiya guys, welcome back. Terry from Smooth's Workshop. Right, I've decided I'm going to do the colour blocking before I do the LEDs. Give it some time to dry, speed things up a little bit. So as I said, for the colour blocking, I'm just going to be using Ultimate Primer, better known as Badger Stynel Res, or it's the same as the MIG One Shot. So it's a polyurethane primer. It doesn't need any thinning, but because I'm going to be brush painting it, although it brush paints beautifully, I'm going to put a few, let's see, I'm on screen, a few drops here into my palette, and I'm going to make sure I take any excess off the top so it shuts nicely. I gave that a good shake up. Just in case it starts to dry out because I'm brushing it, I'm just going to put some Ultimate airbrush thinner in the other one, just in case it dries out in my palette. So I'm just going to get some of the Ultimate Primer, and I'll just, what I'm wanting to do is just block out inside the parts, it doesn't really need thinned, where the LEDs are going to be housed. But I'm watching not to try and paint the mating surfaces that are going to be gluing together, because then it'll just go into one big splodgy mess. So this stuff brushes on beautifully, so it's just a wee coat on the inside of there. I'm just going to do the edges as well at the end. Okay, and it's as simple as that. So yeah, when I did the video earlier on, when we put the LEDs in, just to let you see, it was all shining through the plastic, and the idea of the colour blocking is this will stop this happening. I'm just wiping that edge off that would be gluing together. I didn't really want that to be. Now I'm going to be priming this black on the outside as well, just as a double block. It's not going to be so bad on the engines, because the back end's going to kind of glow and light up anyway. Yeah, but if I put some colour blocking in there, that'll stop them messing about, because I want all the light to be rearward facing, like the thrusters, and I don't want it to be shining forward, because that's not where the flames are coming out. So hopefully this will enable this. The other thing I'm going to do, but I'll not do it till the LEDs are soldered up, is I'm going to light block on the back of the diodes. So basically it'll be, I'll just touch this just now just to show you, but I mean I'll go in there and blank that bit out, and I'll blank so far up there out as well, so it's only really the bulb at the end that's going to have the light coming out of it. That's got to get sanded down anyway, so it's just really to show you as he turns it the wrong way up on his map. Well done, Terry. Yeah, so we're getting near the finishing stages on this. As I say, once the light blocking's all done, I'm still trying to figure out what's the best way of painting it up. I think I will do the wings first, so, or at least Enough of the wing done so the recesses and that's done, so I can get them all sorted out. Because I've still got the cockpit to paint and the glasses to put in and mask off and things like that, so I'm not 100% sure the best way I'm going to go about that. I tend to go with the flow. I have a rough plan in my head what I'm doing, and then the rest of it I just wing it. So I'm just twisting my brush as I take it out the palette to give me a wee bit of a point, but so concentrating on that bits. I want to get down inside here as well, and round about the inside of there, just in case any light comes back the way. But I'm not wanting it on the mating surfaces at the moment where the glue is going to be going. As I say, I'm going to light block externally as well. I'm just putting a wee dab on there. But I'll do that with the airbrush. So I'm just really worrying about the bits that are where the LEDs are. This is my first sort of attempt at LED lighting in a model. So you're kind of learning along with me, guys. I might do it a different way for guys that are doing it all the time. Obviously, if you're doing the kit without LEDs, you won't have to paint all this inside. Because you've not got any light to block, and the end of this will be capped off. Just making sure my holes are still clear and I'm not blocking them up with paint. So yeah, that's kind of that one done. Right, I'll lay that across there so it doesn't touch the bench. So this is the first little bit of paint going on it. Everybody's brush painted, so there's nothing magical about it, you know, but I'm just making sure that I'm getting into all the recesses where light might shine out. And I didn't want to be putting, the problem I've got there is because the tolerances are so fine with my LEDs going in, I've not really got, I didn't want to be putting too thick a coat of paint on, or it'll build up a layer and my LED won't fit in. So it's a bit of a small model for lighting up. I just thought I would try it. I mean, the kit was £6, so you know, if it looks rubbish at the end of it, then oh well, it was a learning curve. I learnt something, you know. I had a go. I'm hoping everything turns out alright and everything goes to plan. But you know what it's like yourself when you actually get down to doing it, something goes wrong. But if it gives you an idea of what to do and how to plan things out, that's all that counts. So that's all. This stuff brush paints beautifully. So where the LEDs are going is all light blocked. So when that dries, that means I'm able to get the LEDs in there and start running the wires. And obviously it takes time for it to dry, which is why I'm doing that just now rather than sanding down the LEDs, because I can sand down the LEDs at any point. Now what I've done with the cockpit here, I've just taken a bamboo skewer and a bit of white tack, so I've got some purchase on it. Yeah, and the light is going to be shining in on his feet now. White catches the camera quite bad, so you'll maybe see it once the paint starts going on. The idea of the black, might need to put more than one coat on it, seeing I'm brush painting it, but the idea of the black is I'm only wanting the light to shine up through that aperture. I'm not bothering what this looks like because it's just primer. It's not going to be seen. So we only want the light to actually go through and light up, but we're not wanting the rest of the ship to light up. So yeah, and then this cockpit's going to get sprayed anyway, with a grey colour. So that'll be another layer of paint on here that will light block, because I don't want the console and everything lighting up underneath them. I want the light to be reflected up from below. Now, I've watched the movie and it doesn't show the cockpit being lit up, and it actually shows it with a smoked canopy. But in this scale, if I smoke the canopy up, you're not even going to see the wee guy. So I'm not smoking the canopy up, and I'm using some artistic license because I want it to light up blue because I think it's cool. I suppose I could have done it with a yellow just for like a backlight or whatever, because in the real movie there's no, the only sort of lighting in his cockpit is the ambient lighting from his control panels, and I can't illuminate that, they're too small, it's too small a scale of a model. And I just wanted to attempt having a go at lighting a cockpit up, just for fun, just for the fun of it. It might work, it might look rubbish. I'm hoping it looks good. I had thought about putting a little bit of the Tamiya X19 smoke inside the canopy to give the smoked effect from outside like it has in the movie, but I fear that it might just darken it so much that you won't see the wee guy that we're going to paint up inside and that the lights are going to kick off of. So I'm not being too particular in here, it's just a wee coat, initial coat of primer. I could have airbrushed this on, but while I'm doing it all with a brush, I thought I would just do it with a brush while I was here. Inside and outside, because all the light's going to be shining past us, even the wee R2D2 slot. So by blacking it all out, it's supposed to stop the light going through it. That's the theory. Whether it works, we will find out when we start doing the painting and actually putting the LEDs in and putting them on to see what happens. That'll do. That's a coat of stuff on there, and I've just got some white tack here. I'll stick that into that. I'll stick that across there to dry. Now the man, I'm not going to paint him black because his suit is orange, not yellow, Terry, orange. And when you're putting orange on black, it doesn't really go. You need to really put a white base under it. So I'll be doing that white. Right. The other thing you might have noticed is I've glued the top part of the stand in. I let it grip with some Tamiya Extra Thin just at first to grip it, and I've went round with the goopy glue, so that's that bit. So that's basically just about the light blocking done now. Right, okay, so we've got the LED coming up in the nose cone here, so we need to block all this out as well. This primer's drying already, so I'm not worried about a perfect finish in here. You're not actually going to see it. It's just to stop the light reflecting out through the white panels. I'm on camera. There we It's just to stop the white coming through the panels from inside. So I'm hoping this does the job. So I'm going to go away and do the light blocking, because it's like watching paint dry, watching somebody do this, but I just thought I would explain what I was doing. So I'm going to do all the light blocking, let that dry, and then I'll sand my LEDs. You don't want to watch me sanding the LEDs. And then hopefully after that we're into, shall I do soldering live? Maybe not, I might do it and then show you what I've done. Right, so see you in a bit, bye. Hey guys, welcome back. Right, I've been a busy beaver. Terry here, Smooth Workshop. Right, I have managed to get to them in. I don't know if you can see. I tried to kill the lights. I'll kill all the lights because it's night time here. You might not see them at all. Or can you see them coming for the engines? I've got one wing wired up and in test mode, and it appears to be working. So what I'm just going to do just now is I'm going to attempt to show you guys how I did it. This will be fun. Now the reason I've taken my cutting mat off the bench is soldering bolt I use is a gas one. Works off of butane, same as what you put in your cigarette lighters. And I'm not wanting heat to warp my mat, so that's why I don't rest hot cups of coffee on my mat either. Right, take that out of there, take that out of there. So yeah, it's been a wee bit of a fiddle. It's not an easy thing on a model this small. I'm just putting my stuff back in my breadboard just to make sure my circuit's still working. It's not an easy thing at all to get the polarity right. Check it's working. Yes. Not an easy thing to do in a thing of this scale. I thought at one point I'd bitten off more than I could chew, but I appear to be getting there with it. So, right, because I haven't got my cutting mat, I don't know what's unfocusing what is it. So, I have managed to get this side done, and I'm just pop that off for now, because they're just going to pop off anyway. You see what I've done there with the LED? Where's my pointy stick? I've got heat shrink on one of the terminals. I've not on the other. It's just in case they touch together inside, so the two wee wires are coming out of there. Right, I'll actually, if I split the wing, it's easier to show you. So I'll just take this earth wire out, because that only goes in when the two wings are together. So, right, my orange wire here is my live power feed in to this engine. It goes onto the LED. I'll do the wiring diagram later so you get a better idea, but might be in another episode. Okay, so I have got, that's the power in, so that's orange, and then it goes to the negative terminal of the LED, and then I've got a white one orange tracer, comes out there, drills through the wing, so I flip it over, comes up there. Now the reason for the loop on it, I can hide that loop inside the bodywork, is that if I just took the wire straight across and into there to the next positive terminal, I wouldn't have any length to solder it. So by leaving that loop on there, I can pull that through, solder the terminal on, and then pull it back in and then fold it over. And the brown wire going back is the negative, which will go down through the tube and we'll get the resistor added later. So what I'm just figuring out now, I'm going to do a similar colour on this side. I'm going to stick with the orange for the positive. Okay, and I'm going to stick with, if I can find it, where did it go? Doodly doot. That's that one. Where's the, there it is. We'll stick with orange with the white tracer for the across the wingspan, And just so I could tell it's a different circuit, I'm going to use green for the earth on this one. So I'm just going to roughly put this back together again, because I need to, the most important thing on this is the wiring routing. So right, so just bear with me. That one and that one and that one goes on that side, so that goes like that, and for that to go all the way in, this has to be popped into that little recess there. It keeps popping out because I keep popping it apart, but that squeezes in there, like so. Okay, so the way I wired it the last time, I came up for the bottom with the positive in first, positive in first, and then up to that one. Right, so positive would be the one that would go in first, and then it's the one with the white tracer on across. Then I'm going under there, and how do I get up to the next wing? How did I plan it? That's coming for, right, positive into there. This one then comes up into there, and then it goes across to this wing by going through that gap. Is that right? So it goes right, so I'm going into this bottom one, and then that one comes up and across. Right. It gets a bit confusing, sorry. Right. The orange comes up, and it comes up through a hole there, right, and then how do I get that up to the other engine? How did I plan that one? Right, I've made it come across the middle. Right, so it comes up and across the middle for there, into that one, and then my negative comes out and down there. Right, okay. Okay. So the first one I'm going to wire is this one. So just so I know what that's going to be the crossover. Right, okay, okay, right, I know what I'm doing now. Ah, see. Right, I can move that one to the side, because that one's done. It's done and dusted. Right, so the first thing I did last time was, I've cut the legs off these LEDs so they're really, really small, but I found I had to go slightly shorter, because I'm very, very tight for space. So I'm just going to take the negative one back a wee bit further, and the positive one back a bit further, and so I know which one's which, I'm leaving the positive one longer. The positive one is always longer than the negative one. I don't know if you can see that one there. Right, so what I want to do now is I want to what I found easier was if I just clamp my, actually how did I do it last time? Right, clamp my LED in this. When you're soldering, you want to tin, what they call tin the parts first. So basically you heat them up and put solder on them. So this is what I did last time. Now the reason I'm doing it like this is, can you see how I've clamped that one into that one is because this is nice and chrome. If I put the LED in there, I've noticed that I ended up soldering the LED onto my crocodile clip, which isn't what I want to do. And I'm just going to, I need to tin a wee bit on the end of here as well. This is going to be my positive. I don't know if you can make that out. So I'm just grabbing the end of that and tiny wee bit of wire off the end, like so. So that they're both ready to get tinned. Okay, tinning, right. I'll put that away. Now, apologies about a dirty ashtray. I do smoke, but I need something to flick bits of solder into and rest my soldering bolt on. And glass is good, so my soldering bolt works like that. Turn the gas up. Wait till I feel the heat. There we go. I'll just let that heat up, sitting there. When I actually get close to doing the model, I've actually got foil here to use as a heat shield, because apart from the heat that radiates from the soldering bolt, I've got a wee exhaust port on this one. If I aim that at my model, it's going to melt. So I've already shot half an hour's worth of video, so this probably is going to run on a bit, but I'll maybe just show you me soldering one LED so you get the gist of it, and then I'll go off camera and do the rest of it. That's the plan. I think that's a better way of doing it, because otherwise if it takes me an hour to do two, you're going to be here for ages. Right, so just waiting for that to come up to temperature. I do have some lead free solder, but I prefer the lead type solder. Right, that's hot enough now. I'll just turn the gas down a bit so as not to burn my tip out. So I'm just giving my bolt a wee clean. Let it get the temperature back up again. Fresh solder on there. Can you see any of this? Is this too far away? I'll try to keep it on the piece which is under here. Right. So I'm just going to tin the bit of wire first. So what I'll do is I'll put my soldering bolt sitting like that, and I'll come across with the wire, and hopefully, can you see this area? Let's bring it around this way a bit. Try not to burn my fingers and everything as well. Right, so I'm going to heat the wire up, let it heat up, let it heat up, touch it with solder and pull it away. And what you get is a thin bit of solder on the end. That's called tinning. That makes it ready for the next bit. So I'm just going to take the excess off into the ashtray. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same with these two terminals as well. So just a wee fresh bit of solder on there. You didn't really want to be breathing in the stuff that comes off this, off the flux. This has got flux up the middle. It's not really good for your lungs. When I used to work in electronics, we used to have wee extractors. There you go, that's that tinned. So I then, in theory, let's just make sure I've got solder on there. No one too much so it splashes off. Right, my bit wire's tinned. I'll try and do it with my left hand so you can see. Bit wire's tinned, the LED's tinned, so in theory, if I come up with the heat now and put both parts on it, hold it till it sets. Right, that's that bit attached, soldered on. So I've got some 1mm heat shrink here. So just to save any shorting out, if I can get at least one terminal with some heat shrink on it, but I've got to keep it shortish. That'll save it shorten on the other one. Good thing about the first bit of wiring is you can actually, on the first one, you can actually put heat shrink on both. But on the last one, because it's in the model, you can only get heat shrink on one terminal. So you just slide that heat shrink over, says he, like so. And then I come in with the heat off my soldering bolt on the exhaust port on mine. And I just let the heat get in at that. And it shrinks to half its original size and insulates the terminal. And that's why they call it heat shrink. You heat it up and it shrinks. Now I've not got a zoom on this, so hopefully you can see that there. Right. Good thing about this one, the initial first one, is I can actually, I should have tinned this as well. I can tin the other one as well for the first LED. So again, I'm just going to take a tiny wee bit off of here. That's my solder. Let the wire heat up before you put the solder in, and then dab your solder. Okay, so that's that tinned. So I'm just going to take any excess off, give it a wee clean, tin this back up again. There we go. And I'm going to come on with the negative terminal, but I'm going to have to do this. What way? I'm going to have to do this right-handed. But what I'm watching is, I want the wire to be on the kind of the inside. I don't want it sitting on the outside because I'm stuck for space. So let's see if we can get this to go. There we go. Where's my... There it is. Just melted that a wee bit, that sheath in there. Just cut that, and I'll get my heat shrink on. Right, so again I'll grab a wee bit of this 1mm heat shrink. Just a wee bit, enough to cover the leg, just in case they touch together inside when I'm bending it and forcing it into a tight space. Slide it on the other end of the wire. Now as I say, I can do this with the first LED on each side, but on the second one, when it's in the plastic, I can only get one leg, and that's why I left that loop on the other one, so that I could pull it through. And I'll just put a wee bit of heat under there and let that shrink in as well. Let's switch that off. Remember, it's hot. So what I have here is an LED with a positive and a negative attached. Have I got any colour that I can put behind it? I don't know if it's a transistors or whatever. I don't know if that gives you a better. So the LED has its two legs on. So the orange one is positive, and the other one with the tracer on is a negative one. And once I get that in the wing, once I get it actually into the wing, I will. I'm just wondering, that's a bit off to the side. Will it manage to go in? As I say, I'm really tight for space, so I'm just making sure that that's going to go in there. Right. So it was this one. Right. So what I do now is I feed my positive one in this hole. So I just put a wee tiny wee bend on it. It's just because I'm working with really fine tolerances here because it's a really small kit. No, that hole, the other one. Is it gummed up with paint or is it going to go? There it goes, it's coming through now. Okay, so that's that wire. That's in there like so. So it's a mixture of feeding it, pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. I've got them obviously longer than I need them to be, so I'll just put a wee bend on the end of this one. See if I can get this one through. Like so. Pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. Good thing about doing the first LED away from the model is there's no heat going near the model. And it's just a matter of pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling. So you might not see what I'm doing here, but I'm trying to do it evenly with them. I don't think I'll get away with doing both at once. Will I? Maybe. Yeah, almost. I'll try and lean forward a bit, get my big belly out the way. So I'm pushing and pulling on both of them, try to keep them a similar length. Getting there. Just taking my time, I don't want to force it. Don't want to break any plastic bits. I don't want to pull any legs off my LED. And when I get a bit closer, that's when I'll start seeing how far the LED has to go. So a bit more. Almost there, a bit more. And then that should sit, actually maybe a wee bit further out. I'm wanting it to sit roughly about there in the exhaust port. So that's both of the wires coming out now. So I need to pass this one through the other wing, through the hole that I made. So I'll just pop that through that hole. And just a bit of tease and a bit of fiddling about, it will go. Just take time. Form that into the side of there. So there I have orange coming into my LED is my positive, the other one is my negative, and if I pull that a bit much, I might have I want that to sit about there, so it's sitting in a perfect place. Question is, can I get the cover on? So what's that? That's 10L. 10L. That one there, that one there. Can I close it together? Yes, but it's going to need some clampage, but yes, it's in. And there's the wee, don't know if you can see it catching the light there, there's the wee LED inside my engine port. Right, and there's my wires coming out. Now as I say, these X-Wings are supposed to have, they'll have hydraulics and that for opening them anyway, so I'm just, whatever bits of the wire you'll see, I'm just going to say they're hydraulic hoses. So, right, so that's on, that's fitted. Not with anything sharp, just with some that I can make a gentle radius with. Right, so that's going to be sitting in down the bottom, so that's going to come forward like my other one. I'll leave a bit of extra length on it, but that's going to be a live feed. Okay, so that's a live feed going in at the bottom one. So that's the bottom one. So then I'm going to come across and up to the top one, and I'm just trying to remember how I routed it. So just to check, I'll pick this up again, and I shall put the two of them together, like that. Now, this one comes up and through like that, and then, right, that's cool. So that can come up along like that, and then it can go into this one. Now, I can't tin this one or anything yet because I don't have the length of it. Right, so I know that's what way I'm routing it, but I'm going to leave a bit of a loop on it so I can fold that away inside to give me extra length on it. And I'm just going to, yeah, the back one. You will go in, you little yellowite. There we go, that's it poking its head in. So where's my pointy? Just a wee bamboo. A wee bit of push, a wee bit of flick. A wee bit of push, a wee bit of flick, a wee bit of push, a wee bit of flick, a wee bit of tease till I get enough through, and then I can start pulling that one. So this is the one that goes from the negative on that LED, but it will get put onto the positive of this one. Right, so that's going to go through there like that, but I do want to have enough of a wee loop, not too big a loop, so that can, anyway, so I'll just test that by putting this back in again. Okay, roughly speaking. I'll sort that one out later, but that's going to go like that. So if that's going under there, I can leave that much of a loop and have the two loops over on each other tucked inside the thing. So what I'm just going to do with my Sharpie, if I can find it again, there it is I'm just going to mark the wire there, so that I know that when that pulls through and that mark comes out, I've got the right amount of loop left back in there, and then I just need to figure out what length I need for the LED. Okay, so I'm going to leave that kind of like that just now, and what I'm going to do with this side is we're going to be using the green for a negative, so we need to tin this LED as well. Now, how was it I did it last time? I clipped it in, no, I held it in this, like that. Right, I've got to trim that back a bit, that's right, because we're tight for space. So I'll take the negative back a bit more. And the positive back a bit more. Now this time we can't insulate them both. We can only insulate one of them. And the one we will be doing is, now that one's coming up and through, so that's a positive feed. So I'm putting a wire on the negative, so the negative one is the one that we will put the heat shrink on. Now I have got a wiring diagram for this. I'll go into that later. in another episode. Because I can try and describe the circuit to you. At the moment I'm just trying to, I know the circuit works, I've got my wiring diagram, I'm just trying to get it all together and tested so I can get one for painting. Because these engine covers, when I glue them, I'm going to leave them overnight to set and have them clamped up. Right, so I've taken a wee bit of the sheath off there, that's ready for tinning, and I need to tin that as well. What we're running into 29 minutes. Right, going to cut out of this, and I'll do the rest off camera. That'll keep the video about an hour long, and that's about the size of it. So on the next one, when we come back, the LEDs will all be in, they'll all be tested, the engine covers will be on and glued, and basically we'll be going into painting it, or painting part of it. So until the next time, Terry from Smooth's Workshop, speak to you later, bye.